wanted to give you a little bit of information about the home sleep test so that you understand what we're talking about. When you come in here, you'll have seen a little bit about how a home sleep test works, especially if you're already an existing CPAP user. What we give you when you go home is we give you a device called an Embletta. It's an actual recorder that fits inside of this modified scrub shirt. The scrub shirt is unique to our company. We developed it. We've patented it. We believe that it's something that hospitals and other sleep laboratories will want to use, because it really does make a huge difference as far as the ability of the patient being able to put this on effectively, wear it, and get a good high-quality study. The scrub shirt can be used for the particular product that we're using and showing here is called an Embletta. There are several other home sleep test systems out there, predominantly another one called Apnea Link that is one that we also use. But this will accommodate virtually anybody's home sleep system. If you're a sleep laboratory and you're seeing this video and you would like to have a sample of the sleep shirt, you can call us at the number below, and we'd be happy to make it possible for you to learn more about the shirt. But in any case, for the patients coming in that want to do a home sleep test, or we want them to do a home sleep test, we use an Embletta. We actually have the Embletta tucked into this little pouch, kind of like a little kangaroo pouch. It's positioned directly over the sternum so that the body position sensor in the device itself remains exactly where you want it. So when you've got a patient laying on their back, the position sensor is effectively capturing that. If they go to their right or the left side, as long as they've got their shirt on, it's going to record correctly that they're on their right or their left side, or even on their stomach if we're doing a diagnostic study. The belts are will be pre-fitted. In other words, we will take measurements of the patient's chest and abdomen, and we will fit the belts so that all the patient really has to do is slip the shirt on over their heads and apply the pulse oximeter, which is something that we use to measure the amount of oxygen in the bloodstream. And I'm going to show you this in just a second. If the patient's already wearing CPAP or some kind of PAP therapy, and you want to see how it's going today as opposed to what it might have been doing years ago, you can utilize, in this particular situation, we're using something called pressure PTAF, and we're basically going to be able to use that PTAF. There's a little tube that goes directly to the device itself, and it hooks up just into the tubing right where the mask plugs in. For those of you that are involved in labs and you know a little bit about it, one of the big issues is always, how do I know if the guy's got the CPAP machine on during the test? Otherwise, I end up having to score the entire night's test, even though the guy may have taken the machine off for an hour or two. Well, if you've got this PTAF tubing connected, you'll be able to score only those bits where you're actually seeing a flow from the tube itself. If the patient's taking the thing off, you get a straight flat line. So it's connected right. We provide them with CPAP tubing to be used for the night with the sensor, the flow tubing connected. All the patient has to do is replace their CPAP hose for the night and put on their mask. So they'll put their shirt on, which has been pre-fitted. It's going to fit them. Belts will be properly tensioned. It's going to have the mask ready to go. As it happens with the Embletta that we use, it's programmed to turn itself on at a specific time. So the patient doesn't have to do anything about turning it on or off. For some of the other devices out there that do require the patient turn it on or off, it's a simple matter of pulling the Velcro up, taking the device out, turning it on, putting it back, and re-Velcroing. A small step. But for the Embletta, if you're one of our patients, you don't have to do that. You simply just put the shirt on, you replace the tubing, and this is the one part, possibly the most important part of the whole process, is to get the CPAP or the oxygen on correctly. All right, when you're going to put your oximeter on, now this may be a little bit different if you're a different lab or you're getting your equipment from another sleep laboratory, but if you're getting equipment from us, this is how we happen to use the non-pulse oximeter, and this is how we ask you to put on your pulse oximeter. The first thing you're going to see is there's going to be a tube, or not a tube, rather, a line coming off the inside of your shirt on the left side of on your left hand. So what you're going to do, it's going to come out of a little plastic package, and you're going to notice that this tape is a little sticky. It's called Coban tape. This tan-colored tape, you're just going to lay here and set it aside for now. You're also going to notice that there is what amounts to being a tennis wristband. Okay. Now you're going to open up the wristband and lay the CPAP or the pulse oximetry sensor out onto the table. Then you're going to put your wrist so that it's underside your wrist down on top of the line itself, and you're going to wrap. You see that? You're going to wrap the wristband closed like so. Now, it's very important that you understand you're going to peel this off. It's very important that you understand how to put on an oximeter. Actually, the way they work is there's two little eyes. There's one here that you can't see so well, and there's one here. I'm not sure if the camera will pick that up. That's quite obvious. But you've got two little eyes here. They have to be looking at one another through the nail bed. So what I have folks do is, doesn't matter which finger you use. If you've got big fingers, you can use your pinky finger. But you want to lay your finger, the pad of your finger, down onto the one eye. And then you wrap the tape up along the side and roll it over. Now you want to make sure, again, as I'm trying to demonstrate, that these two eyelets are looking at one another through your nail. If you've got that working, it's going to be a good test. If you don't, you'll end up having to repeat the test. I kid you not. Without the oximetry, we really don't have a good test. So if you're comfortable, now they don't have to be directly exactly, but they do have to be close. We want that bottom to top kind of configuration. Then you just roll the tape around. You'll notice that there's a fingernail printed onto the tape itself, so that it's real easy to know that you've done it correctly. And you basically fold it on there. It does not have to be tight. You don't want it so tight that it's uncomfortable. Finally, we are providing you with a bit of what we call Coban tape. Now, the Coban tape, this is pretty long, just needs to be rolled loosely around your finger. The goal of the Coban tape is not to secure it in place, but mostly to just keep down the motion. This is basically the way your oximetry probe should look on you. If this is done correctly, you'll get an ideal oximetry signal, and we'll have a very good study. If you don't have this done, it's going to wind up being a repeat study, or we may have to bring you into the lab. That's not meant to be a threat, it's just the truth. We can't really do the test without pulse oximetry data. Thanks for taking a moment to listen.